It's me, Dr. Q, and today we're going to talk about kittens. Oh my gosh, there's nothing cuter than a little bitty kitty. But before you get that little kitty, there's some things that you really should think about to make sure that you're ready for the responsibility of having that cute little ball of fluff around the house. So these are my top 7 tips that I think that everybody that's thinking about getting a new kitten should have to think about, and make sure that you have all of these sorted out before you go and adopt that new kitten, because of course we're going to adopt and not shop. So my first tip that I want to give you is going to be that you want to start with making an expense list. So let's get real about how much it's going to actually cost to add this pet into your life. So you're with a cat, you're not only going to have food, and keep in mind that a little kitty is going to eat about half of its weight. So when it's an adult, a 10-pound cat is going to eat 5 pounds of food every month. And that cat might live 10, 12, 17, 20 years. So you got to think about buying that much food for all that time. Also with cats, you have to buy cat litter. And so when we're talking about cat litter, I have other videos where I talk about that. And so I don't like clay clumping litter because it definitely can cause some problems for cats. But whatever kind of litter that you choose, personally, I like the ones that let your kitty see what's happening in the litter box as far as if they get blood or if their urinary pH is off, it actually changes colors. I love that kind of kitty litter, and that's what I recommend for all of my clients, and that's all that I use because it's such a helpful health indicator. So there's lots and lots of things you have to think about besides food bowls, brushes, food, kitty litter, buying the pan, buying a kennel or a crate so that you can take them to the vet or take them on a trip or transport them safely, whatever the case may be. So the first thing that you're going to do is put an entire spreadsheet together of all of these things and make sure that you know exactly what it's going to cost before you make the decision to bring a new little kitten into your house. Now what we want to do is, what kind of a kitty do we want to get? Do we want a kitty with long hair or short hair? Do we want a purebred? Do we want to just go to the shelter? Also, do we want to get a very young kitten that's just been taken away from mom, maybe at 9 weeks of age? Or are you okay with getting a kitty that's maybe closer to 4 or 5 months of age? So those are all things that you want to give some thought to. Long-haired cats are definitely going to need more grooming. So you're going to need to factor that into the day-to-day care of that kitty cat. A lot of brushing and grooming, or maybe an added expense of having to go to the groomer on occasion to get the kitty brushed and bathed and all of those things. So that's the most important thing to think about there, is if you want long hair or you want short hair. Also, do you want male? Do you want female? That might be something that you want to think about too. Keep their kitties in the house, but some people let their cats go outside as well. And I'm not a big fan of cats that go outside. I really think that kitties should be indoor pets. There's so many things that can happen to them outside, and they really are only a 6 to 9 pound animal. They're in the realm of all the things that are out there that could hurt them. They're not a very big animal, and so they can get hit by a car, attacked by a wild animal, attacked by dogs. There's just so many things that can happen to cats. They're much more prone to picking up diseases, much more prone to picking up parasites. They're also responsible for a lot of destruction of songbird deaths in the United States, and so it's really the best if you can keep your kitties in the house for their own safety, and so that we're minimizing the spread of disease and unnecessary killing of all those little birds out there. So those are all decisions that you're going to want to make and have that all figured out before you decide what kind of kitty that you want to get. But again, I highly encourage you to go to the local shelter. You never know what you might find down there. I have had amazingly beautiful purebred cats brought into me, kittens even, gorgeous, that you would think somebody spent thousands of dollars on, that it was just somebody was at the shelter at the right place at the right time and was able to get a really beautiful kitten just from the local animal shelter. So please, I encourage you, just get on their websites and look and see what's out there. But definitely always adopt, don't shop, so that we're not filling up the shelters with unwanted cats. Tip number 5, everybody, once you have chosen a kitten and you know which kitten it is that you're going to get, now you need to go shopping. So what you're going to go do is either go on the internet or to the pet stores or whatever it is, and then figure out where you're going to get all of these items. You need to get food bowls and water bowls, and we'll have lists for you so you can see all of the things. And down below also some of my favorite brushes and nail trimmers and all of the accessories that you need to have, toys to play with. That is really important too, so that you can have little string toys and things that your kitty can chase and run around. The other thing that's really important with cats is to have something that we call high hides. Cats are really prone to wanting to be up. So it actually decreases their stress if we provide those kind of places for them. So that's why you sometimes see cats climbing on the tops of cabinets or the refrigerator or things like that, because that's where they feel safe. And so I always make sure I have lots of high hides around my house for my kitty cats, and tall cat trees as well. Because with the tall cat tree, kitties can get on top of it, which is where they like to be, is up on top and where they're safe from all the potentially scary things down below. And also with a tall cat tree, cats have to stretch, and then that helps really with their abdominal muscles and helps keep them healthy. So have you ever seen somebody's cat who has like big, pudgy, bulging, low swinging belly? And that's really not so healthy, but it's hard to get our kitties to do yoga or sit-ups. So the only way we could really do it is to provide them, play with them a lot for one thing, and encourage them to stretch and move and get all of this, some exercise, but also with a tall cat tree so that they can climb and stretch, and that helps stretch out all of their abdominal muscles and strengthens their back and really helps contribute to their longevity from a health perspective and also a behavior perspective, because they are going to have less anxiety and feel more fulfilled and be happier because they're getting to express some of their natural behaviors. But also then they are more likely to scratch on that as opposed to your nice furniture. And so that's a whole nother thing you have to think about with cats, because they will tend to scratch up things. And so you either have to not care that they're scratching it up, try to buy furniture that's not going to be as easy for them to scratch, and then use lots of positive reinforcement to get your kitties accustomed to scratching primarily on that scratching post. I always go and give my cats a little handful of catnip or a couple of pieces of kibble anytime I catch them scratching on the cat tree, and that helps continue to encourage them, oh, I'm going to do it some more because she really likes it when I do that. So you're going to want to have your cat tree ready, your food and water bowls, your food's already picked out, and your cat litter already picked out, so that you have all of that ready to go. Usually what you're going to want to do is also have some kind of a kennel or a crate setup, whether it's something that's small that you're going to just transport the kitty in from the shelter to your home, and then from your home to the vet. Or if it's a really young cat, you might want to have a big dog kennel crate, and inside of there have a litter box and food and water and a bed all contained, so that you have a safe timeout place that you can put your little kitty when you can't always supervise them. So those are all things that you definitely want to have already purchased and set up and ready to go. Tip number 4 is be ready for what it's going to be like to bring this little animal home. So definitely don't show up at the shelter without some kind of a carrier. They're going to definitely feel a lot better about that you have prepared and you're ready to go if you show up with a carrier. Keep in mind that often kitties might vomit in the car on the way home, and that's okay, which is another reason why it's best and safest for them to be in a carrier. They may cry a little bit. They may be scared. It could be a very scary time. So just be very reassuring to them. You might have a lot of paperwork to do at the animal shelter, so be prepared for a little bit of a wait. Make sure you have everything that you're going to need there so you don't have any hangups, so you can get your little kitty and get them acclimated, get them home relatively right away. You don't want to do a lot of shopping trips or anything on the way. You want to already have that all done, so you can go straight home and acclimate your kitty to your new home. I actually have videos on that as well, on acclimating cats to, say, for example, other pets. if you have dogs at home or other cats at home. And so those are all things you want to take into consideration, is how you're going to do those introductions to make sure that everybody stays safe and that it's a good first introduction, so that the kitten doesn't get overly frightened, or worse, get hurt by an unmeaning toddler or big dog or whatever it is, or fall down the stairs or all those things. So you definitely want to spend a lot of time with your kitty when you first get them home, to slowly introduce them to all of those things, and then have them spend that first night preferably in either a room or a crate, like we talked about, where they can be safe and have their litter box and have their food and have their water. Now, as far as that is concerned, keep in mind also, if you are getting a kitten and you already have cats, the rule of thumb for how many litter boxes that you need to have is you want to have one more litter box than you do cats. So if you are only going to have this one little kitten, remember, you really need 2 litter boxes. And so if you already have a cat, then you're going to need 3 litter boxes. The reason for this is because it minimizes stress and anxiety around the litter box. One of the things that can happen with cats that people get frustrated about is sometimes cats will develop a litter box. They'll urinate outside the box or poop outside the box, and it can be a very complicated and difficult problem to solve. And one of the ways that you can set yourself up for success right in the beginning is having one more litter box than you do cats. Because that way, if you have one cat who's bullying or guarding or trying to pick on the other cat, anytime that cat's trying to get into the litter box, just make sure you have the extra litter box and everything all set up and ready to go for when you bring that kitten home for that first day and the first few days. It's time to go to the vet. Yes, that's right. You need to come and let me see that cute little kitten, because I can't wait to snuggle him in my vet hospital. And also talk to you about the medical records that the kitten came with, and think about all the things that we need to do to keep this little one healthy. I definitely recommend doing feline leukemia testing. Feline leukemia is a very serious disease that often doesn't show up in cats until they're like 3, 4, 5 years old. So you definitely don't want to adopt a cat and then find out it has feline leukemia and then it dies a terrible death at a young age. I definitely recommend a feline leukemia test if that wasn't already done at the shelter, and then discuss vaccines. See if this little kitty's already had some vaccines or not, where we need to pick up on that so that we can make sure that we get that whole series of vaccinations in there for the feline distemper and the rabies. And then there are other vaccines to consider as well, primarily for cats that, again, go outdoors, even though hopefully that's not going to be the case for you and your kitty cat. But cats that do go outside, there's some other vaccines that we can protect them with to make sure they don't get other viral diseases from getting in fights or tangles with stray cats that may carry those diseases. But that's definitely something that you want to talk to your veterinarian about. So we want to talk about vaccines. Almost all kittens are born with roundworms, and so we definitely want to make sure they have a good deworming protocol, because that's some kind of internal parasite that we can get, and you don't want to get that from your kitty cat. Also, cats can carry external parasites like fleas or ear mites. And so hopefully that the shelter has already made sure that they don't have any of those things. But it's good to talk to your vet about it to make sure that they don't have the parasites to begin with, and that we put them on a good preventative if that's appropriate to help prevent them from getting those parasites, so you don't end up having that in your house. Another thing you want to talk to your vet about is pet insurance. Do you want to get pet insurance on this little kitty? If so, now is the time to do it when it's less expensive, when the kitty is small. So definitely talk to your veterinarian about that, because there are some instances where if a cat needs a big surgery, swallows. I've actually done surgery on a cat that swallowed a needle and thread, believe it or not. And I had to go and do surgery and get the whole needle and thread out of the stomach, right? So that is not going to be inexpensive surgery. But if you have pet insurance, it would cover something like that. To 3 days of having your new baby kitten, get over to the vet's office so you can discuss all of those things, and feeding, and what kind of foods to feed and how often to feed, depending on the age of the kitten, the history. If there's a history of parasites or malnourishment, you might want to do it a little bit differently than another kind of kitty. But those are all great questions to have with your veterinarian, who'll be able to help you answer all of those and set you up on a great path. Decide what your daily routine is going to be with your little cat. And so one of the things that I think is very important is daily play, right? All of us know that we're going to have to feed this kitty every day. All of us know that we're going to have to put fresh water out every day, maybe with a dental rinse water additive to help keep your kitty's teeth clean, because We also think about it, we need to clean their teeth. And so I have other videos on that we can talk about how to do that. But you're going to want to brush them, brush their teeth, trim their nails. How often you do all of those things depends on the cat and how much time you have. And if it's, again, a long-haired cat or a short-haired cat, a cat that scratches a lot or a cat that doesn't. So all those things are going to play into how often you're going to want to do that. Usually we don't bathe cats a lot, but that's something that you might want to do at least every once in a while, is give your little kitty a bath. Besides all of those things and cleaning the litter box every single day. In fact, I encourage you to clean the litter box every single time your cat goes to the bathroom. Just like us, we go to the bathroom and we flush the toilet. It's the same thing for kitty cats. You really want to make sure that as soon as they go in the box, you just get that cleaned out right away. It's more healthy for them, more hygienic for the household. There are even automatic cat litter boxes that will do that for you, a robotic one. But if not, then definitely just doing it yourself is something that you want to do right away. And that's going to help minimize any chance of those problems developing that we were talking about, those litter box aversions that nobody wants, where the cats decide to start peeing and pooping outside of the box. And that can be one of the reasons why, is if the box is not kept clean enough. So you're going to have a lot of responsibilities to do as far as the litter box and food. And when you get close to being out of food, making sure you have more food on the way. That's a big thing these days, especially if you get it shipped in, auto delivery, something like that. You want to make sure that's on time so that your kitty doesn't run out of food. But the most important thing, besides lots of love and snuggles and cuddles and all those things that are going to come really naturally and take no effort whatsoever, because kitties are so wonderful that way, is daily play. It's so important for a cat's emotional and physiological health. We talked about it a little bit with the cat trees and getting some exercise, but daily play is really important. So there's a lot of studies that have been done that show it really helps with overall endorphin release and longevity, boosts the immune system of not only the kitty, but you as well, right? So it's like also healthy for you to take that time, get that joy, get that laughter, try to get that little kitty to play with whatever cat appropriate toys that you have already purchased and you have around the house. So make that part of your daily routine. Besides just food, water, brushing, cleaning the litter box, we definitely want to have some kind of daily play routine, even if it's just less than a minute. But if you do that once or twice a day, it's going to completely transform the relationship that you have with this little animal over the course of its lifetime, and it will literally help both of you to live longer. Okay, now everybody, my number one tip for how to have an amazing relationship with a little kitty cat for its whole entire life in your household is, get ready for it, it's actually training. I know you never think about the fact that you need to train your cats, but you do. And we think about that with dogs all the time, sit and down and walk on the leash and all that kind of thing. But training is just as important for kitty cats too. The thing is, we've already been talking about training. You probably didn't even realize it. By keeping your kitty like in a kennel at night with the litter box and the food helps train them to use the litter box. Cleaning the litter box after you use it helps teach them that is something that they can expect and will help them to be more likely to be cleanlier about the litter box and help minimize those litter box problems that none of us want to have. Going up on the cat tree and playing with them and getting them to scratch up there, that is actually training. So we've already talked a lot about training and you didn't even really realize it, but that is important to do all that kind of training. But two, don't underestimate the fact that kitty cats can definitely learn how to high five or jump through hula hoops or any other kind of fun little tricks that you can think of. There's a million books and YouTube videos and things like that out there that talk about cat treat tricks, cool tricks that you can teach your cat. And I think that it's really helpful to do that. Besides just playing with them with the laser pointer or the feather or something like that, you can actually stimulate your cat intellectually by teaching them different things. It doesn't have to be anything super complicated. I also like to just get a little kid's hula hoop sometimes and have the cats just go from one chair to the other through the hoop. it's good exercise for them. It's mentally stimulating for them. And again, it's really going to help them to have less anxiety, which means a stronger immune system, healthier cat that lives longer, is more fun to be around, and that is going to be the most amazing companion kitty. That's it, everybody. That's my top tips for how to have an amazing experience with getting a new kitten in your household and having a great relationship with that cat for its whole entire, hopefully very long life. If this has been very helpful to you, please subscribe down below, leave your comments, and tune in right here next time for our next installment. And hopefully we've been able to help you a little bit today to get off to a great start with your new little kitty cat. Thanks a lot, everybody.